Okay, so we are going to continue our discussion on PPF and we will see custom definition today. All right. So till we have seen what is PPF, all the concepts related to PPF, what is action profile, action definition, processing type, schedule condition, start condition, how different baddies are there for each, for action definition, for schedule condition and start condition. For each implementation, there will be an implementing class which will be implementing the baddie interface. And then the filter value is maintained, and through condition record and condition type, these values will get triggered. And we also saw one example in case of HU label printout, that how those condition records are maintained and it's triggered, and that will trigger the printout of the particular action definition, and also the output would get generated. Today, let us continue our discussion on that, and then we will also see how to create a custom action definition also. So let me log into the system. Okay. So I would first put the breakpoints and I would go into the debug mode, and let us see what all things gets triggered in which scenario, which implementation will get triggered. All those things we will see. So to put the breakpoint, I need to go to the action definition and I need to go to the implementation of that particular action definition and put the breakpoint. So to go to that, I will again go to the PPF admin transaction. So SPPFC AD. And you know the node as well in SPRO. From there also you can navigate. But if you know the transaction code, you can directly come to the screen. You don't have to navigate through all the nodes, all the hierarchy in the SPRO, and then you will reach over here. So I select this warehouse management engine. I would be showing you maybe for another application area as well. So in this action profile HU, I click on action definition. We are working with HU label. Let me select this, go to the processing type. Okay, so breakpoints are already there. From let me delete and activate it, a new one. And let me also make a copy of this function module and put it in our notes. The action definition, we will make a note of that as well. All right. And internally, this is going to make a call to this function module. We are going to make a note of this function module as well. And so that we can implement it in the custom one as well if we implementing a custom action definition. So execute. Okay, now I go back. Let me put a breakpoint in the scheduling condition as well. So for that, I could directly double click on this. I would also, okay, from here, I would not this way, it will be difficult. Okay, so for evaluate or the schedule condition, this is the function which is getting called, and for that the class is, and the action definition is common for both of these. Okay, now this also I have made a note of it. In fact, I need to make a note of this also, HU level, that is the implementation name for schedule condition. Okay, now let us start our debugging. What I will do is, this will get triggered in case of an HU is getting created, deleted, or updated. So let me see. I will try to create an handling unit, and let's see if this process is getting triggered. And to do that, we are again going to repeat the same process what we had learned in our session number 2, that we are going to create an inbound delivery in ERP side. We are going to distribute. So it will automatically get distributed to the EWM side. And then we will try to pack that delivery into a handling unit. We are going to use a very simple use case, and the steps we have already seen. So we are going to follow the same steps. So we go to VL31N. Okay, I would be taking the same supplier because that is the test case that is created. Okay, I would use only, let's say, maybe one is good enough. I will click on save. So inbound delivery, this 74 is created. Let me copy this, and it is distributed. Okay, I should have. Why this is not searched? Anyone remember why this is not getting searched? I have copied the inbound delivery number, from BL31N, the delivery which got created. I am into the PRDI transaction. I did not mention it while typing, but I am into the PRDI transaction. I have given the inbound delivery number over here and clicked on execute, but it is not showing anything over here.
It's not the inbound delivery of EWM, right? Beside the drop down.
That is correct. So this is still the ERP delivery number. So we need to select the logistic execution delivery. And then if I give the value and click on search, it will search. And the EWM inbound delivery number is 4436. So if I had selected the other node inbound delivery, I had to give this 4436. But that value was not known to me. So I will select the node logistic execution delivery and I'll give the corresponding delivery number and then I can search for it. Okay. Now what I will do is I will try to pack this. I'll try to first pack this, whatever quantity we have. And to do that, I will go to inbound delivery, go to follow on function, go to pack. But okay, all those are configuration. We don't need to worry about that. So I will be taking a packaging material. I think it should be here. Yep. So this is the packaging material, the same one we have been creating. So this is the packaging material we are going to take. And number of HUs, 1 or 2, 1 is fine. I think all will get packed in that particular one HU. Then I'll click on execute. You can see HU number is being generated. So this is the HU number which is generated. And I need to pack this 20 item, whatever 20 number is there for this particular material, into this HU. So what I will do, I'll simply drag and drop, and you can see that it will get packed. You can see a drop like an icon like this is generated, which is showing that this 20 pieces is in this HU. So this is packed. I just need to save it. And probably while saving, it should trigger my, what you call it, as an action definition. So if I click on this, there's something that is not always right with the debugger. Okay, what I will do is I'll click on.
Any message came when you clicked on save?
I did not notice that. Maybe something should have been there. Let me check whether this HU is getting created. I'll check in the monitor transaction. 4405. So this is the handling unit which is created. It is having the product information. So this is the product information, quantity 20. So it is packed. Okay, let me try one more time. I don't know, this debugger always has to be triggered explicitly. I'll try to change something, although this should not be changed, but let me try to do that. And now what I'll do is I'll first try to trigger the debugger explicitly. Okay, I think let me check in the PRHU6 transaction. What is the action profile replacement? Okay, so this is the reason it is not having the correct action definition maintained. Okay, this is fine. I will do the same steps again. So yeah, this I'll come to later on. It is getting triggered. A message was coming, but as soon as I scroll, it is gone. So let me save it. At least. Okay, this method while copying has not been copied correctly. The action definition implementation class. Let me check that again. This also I need to put a breakpoint. Okay, so first let us check. It is triggering the schedule condition HU. So it is going to evaluate whether your schedule condition should be scheduled for execution or not. Let me check the PPRC status. So first they are setting to 0. And let me check what all values is there or possible values and what these values mean. There are too many things already open. Let me try to close few things. This I can close. This I can leave it open. This also I can close. So let's say I am trying to evaluate for schedule condition. Okay. So what value we are trying to evaluate is EPRC. This is an exporting parameter. Let me go to that. Okay, this is directly a size of RC. So if you will see, they have given a description. It is in German. But if it is 0, then it is not scheduled. If it is other than 0, it is scheduled. So, no, I said the opposite. So if it is 0, it is scheduled. If it is other than 0, then it is not scheduled. So that's the reason. First, they are setting it to 0. And then if any error is raised, then it will be set to any other value. Otherwise, it will remain 0. So as long as it remains 0, that means it is scheduled. Okay, now let us do the debugging for this little bit. I want to see the details over here. So to see the details, I can go to the IP type. So if I go to the IP type, you can see that this is the action definition which is being triggered now. If I check the filter value, this is the filter value for the schedule condition method. So let me go to this screen. Which is the action definition which is being triggered? HU general and RF. HU general and RF. This is the action definition which is first being triggered. I should have other screen also, maybe so that I can show the comparison. I'll open that as well. So right now we are into this content general and RF, content general and RF. So let me select this and let me check on the schedule condition. So the schedule condition is HCWM HU content. Is it the same value? HCWM HU content. So for this action definition, there is a schedule condition maintained that is being evaluated at the moment. So I would not be debugging this. I just maybe will go to the end of this. Okay, it did not go even to that. And you can see this condition, this schedule condition is not evaluated. It is showing you as 99. So this is not evaluated, but means it is not going to schedule this action. It is not scheduled. Similarly, if I do an F8, I put a breakpoint. I don't know why the breakpoints are not reflecting. That's something strange in the system. I do an F8. You can see now again it is triggering, and it is triggering for another action, HU label general and RF. Now, if you will see this HU label general and RF, this is the next action. And here also there is another schedule condition, which is HU label. So you can see the filter value, SCWM HU label is being evaluated. And right now it is set to 0. Let's see when we execute this function module completely, what is the value it is setting to. So this is also set to 99. So this is also not evaluated. Not evaluated means it is not set for execution. Now, the next action is HU content. So if you go here, the next action is HU content. Now, do we have anything in the schedule condition filter? We have something in the schedule condition filter. And you can see that filter value is HU content. Let me do an F6 here. Here also you can see the value is 99. So this condition is also not met. So this will also, the evaluation is not. I'll do an F8. The next action was HU hazard, and the filter value SCWM HU hazard. This is also not evaluated. So in the same sequence, we are seeing HU hazard. This is also not evaluated. Now I do an F8 again. See. Now the next one is HU ship label. This is also not evaluated. So the HU ship label, this is also not evaluated. Next is HU SHP label general and RF. Ship label general and RF, and this will be the schedule condition filter. If I do an F7 over here, this is also not evaluated. Now, if I do an F8, next is HU underscore TO. This is having a filter value SCWM HU TO. We have already seen that. So if we again go to the screen, if we click on this, you will see the schedule condition filter over here. Now, let's see this F7. This is also not evaluated. Now, one more F8. Now we are going to the action definition which we want. HU underscore label. This is the action definition which we want to trigger. So if I go to this screen, HU label, this is the action definition that we want to trigger. And the schedule condition is HU label. And the schedule condition is HU label. Now, let me put a breakpoint here as well. So I would do an F6. So right now you can see EP underscore RC first, it will be set to 0. And probably I'll not debug this whole thing. I'll do an F7 here. And you can see the status EP underscore RC is 0. What does this say? That this action, HU label, for this schedule condition, this is successful. So this action should be scheduled for execution. Rest all action was not scheduled for execution, but this action will be scheduled for execution. If you remember the flow diagram that we were discussing, even it is there in the PPT. So I'll once again go back to the PPT.
Hey, you know, ZaranTech now offers SAP corporate training? That's right. Train your workforce in SAP with our comprehensive program. We offer customized courses, certified trainers, and hands-on labs for both individuals and businesses. Our standout features? Bespoke training, fully configured servers for practice, in-house materials, and a dedicated LMS. Plus, get session recordings and 24/7 support. From functional to technical modules, we have got it all. Choose ZaranTech for SAP training and watch your team excel. Learn, upskill, succeed with ZaranTech.
So first, all this trigger is happening somewhere in the background. I'm not debugging these classes. First, evaluate schedule condition is getting executed. We do not have anything in the start condition. So first here it will be determined whether your action should get executed or not. If it is declined here only, then your action will not get executed. If it is scheduled that, okay, your action can be executed, then this will be checked. We are not going to talk about this. So let's say it is scheduled. Then only your execute method call implementation will be called. If that is successful, then you will get a green or success message that, okay, your action has been executed. So that is one aspect. There is another aspect to it. I'll come to that later on. But this I have executed, and let me do an F8. Maybe it will call one more time, or it is done. It is done. Okay. So I think it is scheduled. It is not executed. At least my schedule condition debugger should have triggered, but there is something wrong definitely with this system debugging. So now let me go back to this HU. I'll refresh it and I'll try to reprint from here so that I could see something. So I would try to do a print handling unit again. I will not debug this because this we have debugged again. So schedule condition debugging is done. I just simply do a point from here also. It is understanding the breakpoints. Okay. So here you can see this was executed. This should have triggered, but anyways, triggered the break debugging, but it did not stop at our code. Again, I'll have to do the same process. So I do it again, but it will again stop so many times. So I'm saving that. Okay. I'll trigger it manually also so that I can put those breakpoints. My system, everything is on. What more I can do so that it stops there? Let me close and come back to the system again. We have put breakpoint in every possible way. Sometimes it gets triggered, sometimes it doesn't get triggered. Also, this got triggered. Try everything. Print, reprint. Try this also. Okay. Now this is getting triggered. Anyways, I don't know why sometimes it is not getting triggered. And you can see I cannot see any of the debuggers that I have put. Only the one which I just placed now is visible. If someone has changed my breakpoint ID, I need to check. Maybe session breakpoints are not working. Is it like that? Could be. Okay. But now you can see the execute action is also, execute PPF is also getting executed. It should have got executed when we clicked on save in the HU. After evaluating all the schedule condition, this should have got executed. I don't know. I'll now onwards I should put this as session breakpoint because I cannot see any of the external breakpoint. Maybe looks like something wrong with the external breakpoint. Now you're the same thing. I'll do an F7 here. You can see if I talk about the filter value, this is your filter value action. This is your action which is getting executed. This will not get executed number of times. This will not get executed number of times. This will only get executed once because in first case, your actions were evaluated, which action to be scheduled. And then based on that, it is determining, okay, which action to be executed. So this action is already evaluated, scheduled, and it will get executed. And if you will see the RP status, this is 1. Now again, let me check what are the possible values for RP status. Sorry. So if I go to RP status, there is a data element for this, domain as well. Okay. So 0 is here, it is opposite, kind of not opposite, but slightly different. 0, it is not processed. 1, it is successfully processed. 2, it is processed with errors. Okay, perfect. So now what we are getting the RP status in our case? We are getting the RP status as 1. So it is successfully processed. I will execute it and you can see the print status, it is changing to green because it is successfully processed. What I'll do is, let me repeat it again. Now it is not processed. I'll start the processing and I will not do anything. I will just do an F6 here. You're getting the RP status. So I'll manually, let's say in the debug, I'm changing it from 1 to 0 or maybe to 2 so that I can see the difference. I'll change it to 2 and then I do an F8. You see this? This is into red, process with errors. So your schedule condition is not processed. So if in some scenario, if your RP status is not set to correct status, then you need to go inside the function module, debug the function module, and then you will find out where that flag is being set to 2. And then that error you need to find out that, okay, because of this scenario, it is not being executed successfully. And in the repeat action, all the details you will see. So if you go to this action details, everything you will see over here. What is the action that is getting executed? This is the action that is getting executed. When it should get executed, it is processed when saving the document. So it should get executed. And I was trying to save it and then it did not work when I triggered it manually, execution action. So that also you can do. But again, while saving, this action should get executed. Now, one important thing that I will show you now, when we were evaluating the schedule condition, not each, but at least most of the actions were getting evaluated. Am I correct? We saw this HU content, we saw the HU content general and RF, we saw this HU hazard, HU label general and RF, HU TO, everything we saw was getting executed. Not executed, but at least the schedule condition was getting evaluated. So that is a general process. So when an action profile is determined, because we are currently working in the handling unit, creation of a handling unit, saving or making changes in the handling unit. So the action profile SCWM handling unit is being determined, and it will evaluate all the conditions that is there in this. And it will try to find, okay, which all condition should be met and should be executed. So there could be a scenario where along with the HU label, you want to print this HU hazard label as well. So you are, let's say, transporting something in the HU, which is hazardous material. For example, you are transporting batteries and then batteries is having something which could be hazardous. So it needs to be transported differently. And for hazardous material, you need to print a label. So it is also possible that through configuration, you enable this action definition also. It is already getting evaluated. So if the correct configuration is done, then both of these actions could be executed simultaneously. So if all the conditions that is, for HU label, we have maintained. So similarly, if other conditions related to HU hazard is also maintained, then even this will get triggered. So that is also one of the way. And then from performance perspective, let's say in your project, you are using only HU label, right? Like us, we are only using HU label. In that case, what functional people will do, they will make others not, the ones they are not using as inactive. Generally, it is done by the functional team. They will make it as inactive. Why? Because all those things, all those evaluations will not be done. Only the one which we are using will be evaluated. So in that way, you are improving the performance. So whenever you are checking on an action definition, when you are expecting that to be executed, make sure that this inactive flag is empty. If it is set, then that particular action will not get executed. Let me do that. So I am using HU label. So maybe for hazardous, content RF, TO, even ship, all this I am making as inactive. So all these actions I have made as inactive. Let me save it. Now the same thing I will do. Execute PPF. I have put this breakpoint. I hope this will get triggered. Similarly for evaluate this. Okay, now let me close and then repeat the same steps what we did. So I'll quickly repeat the same steps. 6. Okay, so something wrong with the session breakpoint. Sorry, external breakpoint. Maybe ID someone has changed the ID, but yeah, the session breakpoint got triggered. Now let me come out of this, or maybe inside this. Let's see. HU, this we did not activate. Deactivate. HU label general and RF. HU label general and RF. This we have not made as inactive. So this is getting executed. This is fine. So I do an F7. It will, RC status will still be 99, but at least this is getting evaluated because we have not made it this as inactive. Now let me do the same thing. One more F8. Now you can see the HU content is being evaluated. HU content. This also I have not made as inactive. RC status is 99. Now HU label is getting evaluated, which is of course the one we have kept as active. We have not checked this flag, so it will be evaluated, and this RC status will be, of course, the one we want, so it will be 0. And then if I do an F8, so you have seen the difference, right? When we were doing it for the first time, when we have all this action definition as active, all this HU content, general and RF, HU label, HU hazard, everything was getting evaluated. And of course, if you are doing a lot of processing, then of course it will take time. But when you have made these as inactive, these actions are not even checked. That, okay, this is already made inactive by the configuration in the system. So the system is not going to check. Even the schedule condition for those are not executed. Is it clear? Any questions so far? Okay. Anything else that I want to show here? Let me check in the PPT as well if there is anything that we need to discuss. Okay. So all the T codes, again, I mean, there are many T codes. You might not remember each and every T code, but the important 3 ones, or like, I mean, this is the one, the administration, which we are accessing like most of the times. And then this is for processing your actions. And then you have the maintenance and customizing. So there you have many different actions based on the area you're working. So if you remember, that is fine. If you don't remember, you can always go to SPRO, and through the notes you can navigate. So that is fine. And all those things we have already discussed. Like, I mean, the trigger PPF, what is going to execute, the CL manager PPF. So this is the first set of class that will get triggered. And all those things we have discussed. Action, activation, deactivation, we have discussed. You have a short order as well. So, I mean, again, this, if the functional team wants to put some kind of an order to the action evaluation, then they can maintain the short order. And whatever active actions are there, it will get evaluated in that particular order, or maybe some more configuration is needed. I am not sure of that, but yes, that is also can be maintained. But generally, I mean, I have also seen most of the time it is blank because it doesn't, maybe some scenarios, it could happen that if you want to execute these action definitions in certain order, then you could probably maintain the short order. Okay. So when you see, and I'll try to create action definition in this action profile only. Generally, it will not be required that you will create an action profile. I have never created an action profile till now. So action profile, you are going to use an existing one. If not this SCWMHU, then maybe according to the process you are working on, you might have to create, let's say, something in the delivery. So in the delivery action, if you go, then you can choose any of the action profile that is relevant. For example, for PDI, inbound delivery, there you want to create an action, then you can create your custom action over here. So in this particular action profile and in this particular application, but you are not required to create an application profile or application anywhere. Okay, but how do you add this entry? Do we add it directly over here? Should I go to edit and add an entry over here using a new entry? No, that is not the correct way. And not for action profile, even for action definition, I should not be adding an entry over here. That is not the correct. Then how do we do that? Because if you just add an entry, it will be inconsistent. All the corresponding objects, the implementation, all those things will not get created. So it will be inconsistent. You can just add the entry, but it will not work. So what is the correct way of doing it? We are going to see that. So let me go to the same transaction min. Okay, here you see a tab or a button called as wizard for defining and scheduling an action. So we are going to make use of this wizard and we are going to create a custom action definition. And since we are trying to create, because the same functionality we are going to test in the custom action definition, we are going to create with the reference of HU label. So I have this also open, and let me see. I'll try to create with the reference of this action definition. So I click on this wizard. I'll select the application SCWM WME and click on this wizard. Okay, you can see there are a set of steps which needs to be followed, and then finally your action definition and the scheduling will be complete. So let's do that. Okay, here you have an option to select an existing profile or create a new action profile. As I said, very rare there could be a scenario that you need to create an action profile. Otherwise, all the standard provided action profile is sufficient enough. You just need to create custom actions, so you can use the existing action. So in our case, we want to select an existing action profile. So what is the action profile we want to use? This HCWM HU. This is the action profile we want to use. So I give the action profile, press enter. You can see it will get the description as well, print handling unit. Then I click on continue. So as each and every step is completed, you can see this light, the green light from yellow, which is current screen where you are doing the processing, red, which is not yet defined, and the green, at least these two steps I have defined. Okay. Now specify a name and description for your new action definition. So ZVED underscore HU underscore. I'm trying to create a similar name because this is HU underscore label. I'm adding a prefix ZB. So that is the prefix which I am using in this project or in this training. So I will use that prefix. Now custom. Now I'll click on continue, and you will see this yellow will also change to green. Sorry. Now this has also changed to green. Now we are in the next step, set action. So processing when saving a document. Okay, we will keep this same, or maybe let me keep it to immediate processing. I mean, again, according to your business need, what is the need? Accordingly, you can choose this, and you can always sync on this with your functional, and they will help you to understand what is the processing they need. And you can see the description as well. So this is the processing type that we were choosing from the processing type, and you are choosing schedule automatically. The action is scheduled displayed on action tabs page after the schedule condition is met. Fine. And then the one we know, when saving a document, so when you're saving something, it will get triggered. And via the selection report, we have a report. If you execute that, then all the open actions you can filter, and then that will get executed from there. So immediate processing, I'll do the schedule automatically as well. Now I click on continue. So this set action is also done. Partner dependent for action. No, we are not making it anything for partner dependent at the moment. So I will disable this checkbox. So when you are like triggering some kind of an external functions, let's say, for example, an IDOC or an XI message, then probably you need to define a partner dependent book, because for different partners, you could have different messages that would get triggered, and then you can define the partner dependent. But here we are just printing something, so would not be required. Okay. And again, we have already discussed about the processing type, that, okay, what are the different processing type? You want to set an external communication, you want to trigger a workflow, or you want to trigger an alert, something like that, smart form print. But here we are going to use the method call, which triggers our Adobe Forms print. So that is through the logic, it will trigger my Adobe Form to print. So I'll select this, and this is, again, I am referring it from the standard action definition, which I am trying to replicate, maybe because of some business condition is not met. So I select that, I click on continue. Now you need to define your method. You need to define your method call. So I do not have anything over here. I need to create one. So I'll click on this button, and then you get a pop-up like this. So either what you can do is you can choose from here any of the standard one that you want to use, or if you want to create a new one, you click on this create button. It will create a new one. And the important thing that is to notice over here is check the baddie definition name. We are creating an implementation for baddie definition EXEC method called PPF. What was this baddie definition for? We have three things, right? Action schedule condition, action start condition, and action execution. What is this baddie definition for? Okay, let us go back to our notes. Maybe I think we have written it down. We have not written that way. Yeah, we have written it.
What sets ZaranTech apart in SAP corporate training? It's our unique blend of expertise and innovation. We offer customized courses tailored to each client's needs, ensuring relevant, targeted learning. Our vast trainer database brings you wisdom from the best in the field. Need resources? Access our extensive training material repository anytime. We are all about measurable results, providing detailed student metrics to track progress. And we don't just teach, we build community. Join our thriving social media network, connecting learners beyond boundaries. With ZaranTech, you are not just training, you are transforming your SAP expertise.
Now, can you tell me what is that baddie definition for? This is the baddie definition. We are going to create an implementation. So this is for baddie PPF execution. So if I go back here, we are creating, where is the other screen? Okay, maybe let me see. Again. Execute method called PPF. So I am going to create an implementation which will be for my action definition execution. And if you will see the standard SAP, whatever filter value that you are mentioning or whatever the name you're giving, a similar name or the same name you are giving the implementation name and the filter name. So I give the same name, ZVET _HU _. This is my baddie implementation name. I'll give the same value in the filter condition as well. Now I click on next. Okay, custom for HU label. Okay, and you can see nothing you need to change. Whatever rest of the things like filter dependent, what is the filter table, all those things is automatically coming. You just need to maintain those values. If you go to the interface, the correct interface is also coming. And based on the name that you have given, the implementation name you have given, automatic suggestion is also given to you on the implementing class. You can change it, but it is not recommended to change it because you will break the relationship. So you can see it is getting prefixed with ZCL _IM. And in case of standard, it would have been just this CL _IM. Since it's a custom one, it is _ZCL _IM. And then the rest of the things is your implementation name. So that way also you can find the implementation name, or from the implementation name, you can find the implementing class also. So that don't break these relationship. Although you have the flexibility, you can give another implementing class name, but do not do that. Do not do that. Take the prompt what system is generating. Now I will activate it. Okay, we already have a package and a transport for our training, which we had created. And then I am saving that in the same one. Done. Now your baddie implementation is done. Let me make a note of this, or maybe rather the class name directly. So this is okay. And action nation, which is this. And I just need to add Z here. All right. Now this is active. Let me close this window and let me come back over here. You can see it is not populated, but you have created it. So now you can click on this F4. You can search for that if you remember the name, but I know it's a Z, so it will be towards the end. Z with HU label. This is the filter we have created the implementation for. So I'll click on this and you can see that method has been added over here. Now I will click on continue. So processing is setup processing is done. If you want to give any kind of custom description that you can give, then I'll click on continue. Again, it is not a mandatory thing. Now you need to select what will be your trigger condition. And we want our trigger condition to be the baddies, because we have been working with baddies. For the schedule condition also, you need to have the baddie condition. So I will choose the baddie condition. And here you have the description, select the condition type in which you want to define the scheduling condition, start condition. We are going to define it using the baddies. And we know the baddie definition name, which will be used for schedule condition, and also for start condition we know. So let's click here. I should get a button here, otherwise. Okay, fine. I am not getting the button here. I should get the button so that I can click here from here as well. Have I missed something? Let me do a quick check. Okay, maybe what you can do is you can choose from here if you have created a schedule condition, but it should have allowed me to create one also. The same way you can choose one if you have created, but I'll show you how you can create. If it is not giving you a pop-up here, how you can create. So I'll put no condition at the moment. Let me continue with this. And similarly for start condition also. And anyways, for start condition, I'm not going to add maybe, but I'll put no condition here. And then I'll click on continue. And with this is the last step. If you complete this, all the maintenance activities related to your action definition will be complete. And it will ask you for a customizing transport. Now, let us go and see, do I need to add an entry for the action definition that I have created? So I will select this. I'll go to action profile. This is the action profile that we have selected. You see this? I don't have to add anything manually. As soon as through the wizard, the action is created, it is going to add an entry in the action definitions also. And now you just need to maintain it through for the condition record, and this will get triggered. For that also, you don't have to do anything. I mean, just the configuration you need to maintain for this action definition. Okay, we were not able to add a scheduling condition. So let us do that. Let us try to do that. What you can do is you go to this node. If I go to the technical nodes here, this is the action profile we are working, and you should see your action definition. You see your action definition. I think we did choose schedule automatically. Is it because of that? This is also like that. Okay, so I'll select the action definition. I will go to the schedule condition. If I click on here, edit condition, here you're getting create. Fine. Okay, so if for the custom action definition that I have created, your schedule condition and your start condition is empty. There is no value in it. If you check for HU label, you have something in the schedule condition, not in the start condition, but you have something in the schedule condition. I need to add something in the schedule condition for my custom action definition. How do I do that? You go to this tab, schedule condition, click on edit condition, and the same window opens. I was expecting this button over there as well, but from here you can click on create, and the same process. Now only the difference is, instead of execute method call PPF, here you can see evaluate schedule condition PPF. And if we go to our notes, you will see eval schedule condition PPF. This is for PPF scheduling, and an implementation will get created for this. So I will give an implementation name, ZVET. Instead of HU label, I will give SCHE underscore HU label, so that I know for which action definition this schedule condition is. Now I will use the same name because that's the practice which SAP has been following. So whatever implementation name I am using, I will use the same name in the filter condition as well. I'll click on OK. And if you want to put any description and the interface, okay, if we go to the interface tab, you can see based on the implementation name, your class is also recommended. And if you click on activate, this class will get created. So let me copy this class also. Okay, so let me save and activate. Yeah, this is also there. I'll come to the end the logic of those class, but first let me create everything. Now what you need to do, you can see implementation will be displayed in a new window. So maybe I'll do an F4. Your implementation is created. You should see the implementation, Z-Wait schedule HU label. Click on this. Why it did not enter? This I don't want to change. Is there something else? Okay, maybe I will check on this. When I created, it was giving me in wizard only. Maybe some parameter which I have selected is because of that it is not allowing me. Let me see if it is allowing me to insert any start condition. No, it's because of this, looks like. Let me do one more creation. I'll quickly do that. I'll keep this processing when saving a document. I'll not check this schedule automatically. This I remove. Method call. Let me use this implementation. I can use. No, it is not even allowing me to use this. Okay, I use the same implementation over here. Now it is at least allowing me to add the schedule condition. So if I do an F4, it is allowing me to add the schedule condition because I was choosing the radio button, select execute immediately. That's the reason it was maybe not allowing me. But here also, it is not allowing me to create anything. So if you want to create a new one, you need to go back to the earlier transaction, create a new scheduling condition, and then you will see that in the F4 help, and which you can use. I don't create a start condition. I click on complete. Okay. So if I go to this, I should see one more action definition, HU label 2. And what I will do is I will make this as inactive for the moment. There is a clock. I don't see this. Okay, here it is locked. So I make this as inactive. We are going to use this custom action definition. So the rest of the details are over here. The rule type is baddie, using condition that can be transported. So looks good. Let me go back and see if we see something in the schedule condition or not. Yeah, so we see something in the schedule condition, and there is an already implementation created for this. So from here, now you can see the implementation. This is the implementing class, which should get triggered. Fine. Now, let me write some very simple code and try to see how this is getting executed. So what basically I need to check is RP status 0 is condition fulfilled. If it is not 0, then condition is not fulfilled. So I need to set the RP status to 0 if I want to get this action scheduled. Okay, so first what I will do is initial, or maybe let's create a function module like we have. Okay, so that is that I will follow the best practices, although I will not write any logic inside those, but I'll follow the best practices at least. So evaluate schedule condition. This is the function. Okay, so this is the function module, which will be for evaluate schedule condition. What you need to do is you need to create a copy of this and create a Z and anything. Okay, let me put it in that function group, no problem. I don't want to have the logic. So what I will do is I will delete all these things. What I will do is in the importing parameter, nothing. I mean, I'm not going to write any logic here. What I'll do is I'll simply put this. So whenever you are executing, put this first to 0 so that if there is no error raised, this value is always supposed to get executed. So if I will do if side name is equal to, so already it is there. So if it is not equal to, then in this case, I will set this to, let's say 99. That's it. Okay. Now I'll copy this function module. I'll go here, pattern. Right. Okay. I could have written the same logic here as well, but good programming practices to have it in the form of a function module like SAP is doing so that you have more flexibility and you're following the modular programming which SAP recommends. So again, just for that reason, and whatever additional logic, because right now I have just put it on my SciU name, but whatever additional logic you want to implement, you are going to implement in this function module. Perfect. I am not going to write because this you already know. So I'm not going to implement a function module for execute, but you know what you need to do now. So you can do that accordingly. I'll go to the action profile, or I already have it copied. Okay, so this is your execute. Here also you have an execute function module, which you can copy and then you can put the logic like we have done in evaluate. But here we are not going to do that. Let's simply put this rf_s. What was the value for successful? It was 1. So I put it like this. Same thing if, or maybe I should have this also copied somewhere. Okay. Now, if you have implemented this class method call along with the schedule class method call, your everything related to your custom action definition is done, except for one configuration that you need so that your custom action definition gets called. And if you remember, we had this link, right? We have a determination procedure. This is the determination procedure we are using. You have a condition type. The condition type for this determination procedure is 0, HU1 and HU2. In the determination type, not the packaging material, but HU type here. Now, this determination procedure is mapped to an HU type. And this HU type or 0 HU1 that you maintain, this condition record, is maintained with an action definition as well. So here you need to maintain your custom action definition. And if you maintain that, then your custom action definition will get triggered. So let's go to the transaction, and I have noted down the transaction as well. So this is the transaction PRHU6. Okay, I maintain it at a warehouse level. So I select that node and click on select records. I need to give the warehouse number 1710. This is the warehouse we are working on. Perfect. You are here. What I will do is, instead of copying everything and creating a new one, that will take some time. What I will do is I will simply replace this action definition with the one that we have created. And what is the action definition name? This is what we want. Okay, so now you can see the link, the HU type, the condition type, and this condition type to condition record and everything is linked. So your action definition, this, and your form, this will get triggered. And even we have maintained some printer settings and everything. Those things, will not be applicable over here because it will not trigger anything. Okay, done. Now, probably that was the last step. Now everything is done. Let me put a breakpoint. Both, I don't know which one will work. Okay, created one more. So I will put there. All right. Now the same thing I will do. I will go to VL31N. I simply select one, save 77. I'll go to PRDI. Okay, go to follow-on function, pack. Now I use the packaging material. I'll click on execute. You see that an HU is generated. I will put this material in this HU. Okay, it is packed. Let me save it. Good. Now the debugger is triggering at least. And right now it is triggering for the standard one because it will still evaluate many of those standard filter types. Yep. So let me do an F8. Now your custom schedule condition is triggered, and your custom schedule condition, and if you see this value EP_RC is equal to 0. So I will execute this. Sorry, it was 1. Now it will be set to 0. Okay, this is a different condition which is getting triggered, not the one we have just created now. Okay, but this will also be set. Now our custom schedule condition is getting triggered, and you can see we are making a call to the function module. We will go inside this. I'll do an F5. Okay, some type mismatch is there. IO control context type mismatch. Also, I give the same. I hope the back transaction is, or the PRDI is not executed. Yep. Now this is the FM we are calling in our implementation class. I hope now there's no error in it. Yeah, no error. So first we are setting it to 0. That will schedule it for execution. So it is set to 0. And the uname is correct. So it will not go inside this, and it will still remain scheduled for execution. All right. Now I will do an F8. Okay, ending with 4443. Let me go back and search for this. Now let me see the action which is generated first to validate whether the correct action is generated. Custom HU label. The name is not coming. No, it did not generate the correct action that we should have generated. We did maintain it correctly. Action definition name. Maybe we will check this. So your custom action definition and everything is created. We will see in the debug mode. So again, this would be a good use case that we will see in the debug mode. Our custom action definition, we wanted the label to be triggered for this action definition, which did not get triggered correctly. This we will debug and we will see why it did not happen and what would be the cause or what we need to do. Maybe it got disrupted in because of the dump. Maybe because of that, it did not fetch the correct conditions. I'll have to start the transactions from scratch again, or we will find the root cause analysis for this. We will do that. But your custom action definition with schedule condition and everything is defined. We saw the schedule condition is getting triggered, or maybe the another reason for that is why it is not determined is because we saw that another custom action, we were still setting the status as true. And even for this, we were setting a status as true. But for the other action definition, there is no record maintained. We are maintaining a record for this also. So there is a mismatch in data. There is a mismatch in configuration. And my assumption is because of that, it did not determine the correct action definition and did not trigger the printout. But we will check this.